Hello ladies and gentlemen, today's guide will be very simple. Let's talk about Echo Thermonuclear Smoke Devil and how to obtain the best magic weapon in leagues. Let's start with gear, inventory and stats. A must requirement for this is 93 Slayer. You cannot fight Thermonuclear Smoke Devil without that. You also need to be on a Slayer task for this boss. So if you are interested in obtaining this magic weapon, I highly recommend picking tier 6 relic Culling Spree that takes care of your Slayer levels. It's extremely good in this situation, and the main benefit is that you can pick your own Slayer task from a list of 3 choices. Otherwise you might spend hours and hours looking for a Smoke Devil task. As for the combat style, magic is without a doubt the best way to go about this. If you picked Kandarin, I assume you're going magic anyways, so just take whatever choice is best for you. I decided to go with air spells and using prayer bonus instead. Since Thermy does have an air elemental weakness, whatever magic route you're going, it's gonna be fine. One thing to keep in mind is to bring any ranged weapon that has long attack radius. I am bringing Sunlight Hunter's crossbow, and this weapon can be used between phases to trigger a certain boss mechanic that I'll explain later on. As for food, you technically don't need to eat during this boss, and if you're using water spells, you're gonna heal back to full hit points anyways. Okay, let's talk about the fight itself. What I like to do before I go in is just heal myself to 160 hit points. I put points into both air and water spells, so my air spells deal more DPS based off prayer bonus, and my water spells overheal to 160 hit points. This way, when I do get damaged during a fight or make a mistake, I can still feel relatively safe because I just have such a big hit points pool to play with. When you enter the room, make sure you have protection from ranged turned on. Echo Thermy spawns 12 rings around it, and during the attack phase it will do 12 attacks. By standing on these tiles and correctly praying, you can neglect all the damage taken. It always goes in cycles. Starts with 3 ranged attacks, then 3 magic attacks, and it repeats that 12 times in total. The tile will be depleted after you absorb all the damage, and you have to move on to another tile to not take any future damage. Once the phase ends, Echo Thermy will perform a special attack and it starts charging a progress bar on top of its health bar. Once that is filled, it will launch a missile towards you, and it does damage based on how far away you are. The further away you are, the less damage you take. During this phase, you want to hit the boss once with a ranged weapon. Echo Thermy has protection prayers against the combat style you last used in previous phase, so if you hit it once with a ranged attack before the phase ends, it will protect from ranged and you can continue using magic against it. And then you go back into the same cycle again. Starts with 3 ranged attacks, then 3 magic attacks, and it repeats that 12 times in total. Once the boss is at 50% health, it will go into enraged mode. Instead of doing 3 ranged and 3 magic, it swaps between the styles. So in this example we have magic, ranged, magic. The core principle is still the same. Stick to your tile and protect correctly to take 0 damage. Once all 12 attacks are done, go further away, use your crossbow so it keeps protection from ranged, and repeat the cycle again. Don't try to be greedy with your damage here, just make sure you use the right protection and stay on the right tiles. To help you with this better, I recommend using the Tile Indicators plugin on RuneLite. Go to current tile and check the highlight through tile box. This showcases your actual tile your character is standing on. If you're doing this for the first time and you're not very experienced with PvM, I am going to say that this boss is very click intensive and it might feel overwhelming at first. At start, I will not worry about DPS so much and just try to get a hang of moving on the tiles and getting correct prayers. If you think you can't handle the triple prayer during enrage phase, what you can do is stick to one prayer only and tank one of the attacks. So in this example, it's mage, range, and then magic again. If I wasn't confident enough, I would just stick to magic prayer and tank the ranged hit. I will take about 25 damage, but if that helps me secure the kill, then it's fine to start this way. If you have trolls available, you can use those as well. The minion relic at tier 8 does extremely well during this boss fight, as it does help you get that extra DPS in while you're moving and praying. If you have the Flask of Fervor, you can also trigger that during the special attack by just standing next to the boss and dealing tons of damage right after. And once you have it figured out, you will be rewarded with the best magic attack weapon in League 6. The Devil's Element and Shadowflame Quadrant both have a 1 in a 25 chance to drop. But there is also a dry protection in place, items, and after 50k C, you are guaranteed to get both of the items no matter what. By this point, I assume everyone already knows that Shadowflame Quadrant is about twice as good in leagues as the second best weapon, so I highly recommend learning this boss, going magic with whatever spells you want, and basically one-shotting every other boss in the game. But I thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow with another leagues video. Bye!